So in the media, we have black male celebrities jumping ship, withdrawing their support from black women. We had Roland Martin. We had using his platform to say what he said. Then we had Trick Daddy. Now we have Lil Wayne jumping ship from Black Lives Matter, and apparently Dave Chappelle as well. This is something to look at. This means something, and using celebrities and people in the media is not necessarily about looking to them for anything, really. It's simply noting what messages are being put out there. What is, society trying to say, or and um, what does that dynamic mean? Okay, so now we have the 11th hour is approaching. The elections are next week. Um, Tensions have been brewing pretty much all year, for the past few years, really. Um, and then you had, Beyonce, who this is not about. Please do not come on here about your feelings on Beyonce. This is about what she represents in the media. Kind of using her platform to discuss police brutality and the things going on, and she getting a lot of heat for that, and having her kind of platform and everything boycotted by cops, and she basically kind of became this face of um, anti anti racism in a lot of ways, at least in the music industry, right? So it was a polarizing situation. The Super Bowl, they were mad at that. Then it was in the CMA awards, and some of them were mad at that. So now what you have is, then her sister did the album "A Seat at the Table," which I think is a really great album. This isn't about my feelings on it, but the point was this was an album that was also that spoke to a lot of the things going on in society. So what do you have is, so you have that. Now you have more recently Azalea Banks, who is up against Russell Crowe, and I believe Azalea Banks. Um, and here she is going up against the big bad wolf, the boogie monster. The one that everybody says is well, we know, right, is the face of our oppression. Okay, the rich white man uh, with resources and who actually has power to some degree. That's who little Azalea Banks is going up against. And the black people are leaving her out to dry. And black men are jumping ship. So what's happening here? Now black women are basically becoming the face of anti-racism once again, having gone up against, racist institutions, having used their platform to speak out, dealing with the fucking backlash from it, or dealing with basically being marginalized and rejected for doing so, and or at least having to, rehabilitate their image, like their image kind of taking a hit, if you will, for those things, only to have now Lil Wayne jump ship. Now Dave Chappelle jumping ship, and whoever the fuck else is going to be jumping ships soon. Do you see how this works? Do you see how this works? Here it is, the 11th hour. Here it is, this is the time for everyone to at least be somewhat on the same page, right? We don't necessarily need to agree on every single thing. We don't necessarily need to like each other. But the last thing we need to be doing is having someone who has a platform that they have to be saying that they do not feel connected to Black Lives Matter. You are basically almost single-handedly undoing everything that has been done, everything that people have been trying to work towards. All of the marching, you have basically made it almost pointless now. This is the one space that black people dominate. This is the one space that black men dominate, is entertainment. Okay, sports and entertainment. And this is what they have chosen to use their platform to do. This is their one little slice of patriarchy that they have, that they control. And they are sitting up here and they're using their platform to talk shit and to sell their people out. Now, there have been people kind of pushing back a little bit. Apparently, Meek Mill said something, but Meek Mill is not on the same status, doesn't have the same popularity as Lil Wayne. His video on social media, from what I've seen, has only made a few little rounds. It's not gonna get the mainstream headlines that what Lil Wayne as what Lil Wayne has said, and Lil Wayne knows that. I reject the stupid weak ass argument that we should ignore what he's doing because we shouldn't look to celebrities for blah 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 blah, or that B you know someone just paid him to say this, that, and the third, as if that somehow makes it better. That's not the point. Um, well, number one, it's not the point as to whether or not we're looking to these celebrities. Really, the media. That argument is for the media. They shouldn't be the ones asking Lil Wayne. Why are you asking Lil Wayne? Why not ask David Banner? I mean, um, but it's sad that even if someone is paying him money, this is someone who wants for nothing. He doesn't need that money. He doesn't need that money. Um, he has everything he could possibly want and some. Why would he be so desperate that he needs to sell out his people like that? You know, and he's playing both sides of the fence because we know in his music he has spoken about, racism, or at least hinted at, unfair treatment. So he's not stupid. He meant to say what he said. He said it because he wanted to say it, and he's trying to save himself. Again, like I said, at the 11th hour, now that, we don't know what the future holds in terms of the elections, it's like damage control, and they want to save themselves. And now that black women are sitting out here becoming the face of anti-racism, right? Because Black Lives Matter was founded by 3 black women. Now they want to, haul ass. Now that Trump has, even if he doesn't win, white, sexist, patriarchal society has validated him enough that he became an actual candidate. The seeds have been sown at this point, right? And now black males want to run there because that's the symbol of power. So they want to align themselves with that, or at least distance themselves from anything that seems counter that kind of power. That says a lot. And even if it doesn't necessarily reflect what people, everyday people, the point is, it's sending a very clear message about, how people should look at the black community and what the black community looks like to other people. Okay, pay attention, because basically it looks to me like black women are now the tag dog to racism, and black men want to run away and get off scot-free and do what it is they want to do. And they want to do this bros before hoes thing because you've got Dave Chappelle basically backing Trump. You've got Lil Wayne distancing himself from Black Lives Matter. And in the Azalea Banks situation, the black male in that issue backed the white guy. He backed Russell Crowe. His race didn't matter at that point. His loyalties were not to his race at that point. His loyalties were to his dick and to his money. Because Russell Crowe, vis-a-vis Azalea Banks, I would argue, I'm sure is more net worth than Azalea Banks. He can make it rain on RZA more than Azalea Banks can. So they're going to go with the power. They're going to go with whoever's winning, where they feel like is the winning team at the point, at that point. Um, and he trashed Azalea Banks. Again, in her most vulnerable moment, this is someone who we should be rallying around. No questions asked. She's going up against the big bad white racist man. This is everything that we've said is black people's problem. That's who she's going up against. And you're gonna leave her you're gonna leave her ass to dry? You're just gonna let her fend for herself. Okay, this is some sad shit here. So they chase after death, right? Because Wu Tang Clan's music is not necessarily the most moral music. The members of Wu Tang are not necessarily any like moral examples. It's not about passing judgment. It's just they're no angels. So they hip hop is all about black men doing immoral shit and doing what they want to do and tempting death and tempting fate. Lil Wayne is out here like having seizures and shit and drinking lean continuously, you know, doing just enough to not die. This is what they do. They do just enough to not die. They make, they talk just enough shit to make money. And then the moment shit starts to kind of hit the fan, the moment it looks like, oh fuck, black people ain't gonna win this one, they run, they haul ass. And that's what it seems like they're doing. And that's what the media is allowing them to do, and that's the message that they're conveying. That they can't stand for shit, they can't stand for anything. They can't put their personal gains aside for a second. They're gonna always choose themselves first. And if they had a choice between a black man, a black woman, and a white man, they're gonna choose their dick loyalty over everything. Um, Black women can't afford to keep going. We're gonna have to find a way amongst ourselves to figure out how we can be aware of racism, protect ourselves and each other from it. Um, basically staying woke but staying safe and protected, because we can't afford to be the face and the kind of fucking attack dog and the pit bull of racism, when we're clearly not going to have that protection reciprocated. That much is obvious. Um, so I think that's kind of like where my next steps are. Um, is how do we as black women stay aware of situations, being aware of black male sexism doesn't necessarily mean ignoring like, white male racism or just white racism or just anti-blackness period. We have to be able to do both and maneuver and navigate both worlds effectively, because we can't afford to become the face of anti-racism, because under patriarchy that's going to get used against us. We're going to be masculinized, just like I suspected was going to happen, and then people are going to use that as as an excuse to abuse us, right? Because it's like, oh well, you want to be the face of this. You're basically like a damn man. You're taking on the role of a man, even though that wasn't our intention. That's what's going to be put out there. That's the kind of image that's going to be put out there, and we're going to face the brunt of that. And no one's going to be around to save us. So if you're listening, I guess comment, what are some of the ways in which you think we can do that effectively? How do we navigate the racism? How do we separate from the sexism, protect ourselves from the misogyny of black men, while also navigating and staying safe within an anti-black world? What is our role in that? How can we do that effectively? And how can we help each other do that? All right, thanks.